Nah, let's watch this. Sonic swearing. It was better.
Would more effective writing give you an edge at work?
I wonder what category Spider Kid was streaming into.
Can make your job one click simpler.
Skip. Skip. Laggy out computer.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Let's watch this
Welcome
later.
to Chaomix. You ever just play a Sonic game and suddenly...
Damn. I like how all those are from Shroud of the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, like, I guess now that the dust has settled almost 20 years later, what the heck was up with this? I thought Sonic was supposed to be a family-friendly franchise.
R.I.P.
Not only does this...
Bro, what's his name? Beluga Productions? Like, Blue Whale Productions? Something like that. That guy was goated. I remember I was like, the Sonic, like, zombie series he had was, like, really weird, but I loved it at the same time.
With swearing, but this exact swearing helped with the making of a monumental moment in video game history. Today, we're talking about the verbal obscenities within the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Swearing in Sonic the Hedgehog? Well, it's more likely than you think. Of course, we all know about it from the 2005 hit game Shadow the Hedgehog. This game was a bit of a tonal shock for anyone playing it right when it came out. People like to call this game edgy, and honestly, for good reason.
It is.
Lots of guns.
Guys, I think I have ADHD. I keep on having like my ClickBox on my desk, and I like keep on playing with them like every time I'm bored.
Giant open universe where you can do whatever you want.
I don't care.
Swearing. Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
So that's where it comes from.
Very stark difference from what the previous games were going for. But hey, this isn't necessarily trying to be like those other games.
Bro, look at this cutscene and then look at the game. That's gotta be false advertising, man. That literally looks like you jumped like 10 years into graphical fidelity. Like, come on.
These games were going for. But hey, this isn't necessarily trying to be like those other games. This is Shadow the Hedgehog, not Sonic the Hedgehog. It's his game, he can do whatever the heck he wants. But it isn't just Shadow who swears here, it's contagious to most of the rest of the cast. You've got Sonic. Damn, they got away.
Real?
Knuckles. Espio.
Damn, we've been detected.
Espio makes sense.
This guy.
Shadow.
Oh.
I remember playing it as a kid, making sure the volume was low enough so my mom didn't hear me cursing. I didn't want my mom to think that the video games I was into at the time were these foul-mouthed things meant for delinquent children. Boy, if only she knew. Because what if I told you that Shadow the Hedgehog wasn't even the first game to use profanity, and far from the last? The Japanese voice actor for Sonic, Junichi Kanemaru, loves sprinkling in some English phrases into his quips. But this also includes some light profanity, which can be found in both Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. In the first Sonic Adventure right here, and then also possibly here. But in this last one, I think he might be saying shoot.
Yeah, he definitely says shoot.
Never mind. And then we have Sonic Adventure 2, possessing some profanity in the English subtitles of the intro section right here. However, this was only within Sonic Adventure 2, The Trial, which was a demo of the opening sequence of the game before its release.
A demo?
This line was changed in the final release, removing the profanity. However, there's a few instances of swearing within some of the music of Sonic Adventure 2.
Yup.
Namely in Death Chamber during this line.
And Knuckles' song, right?
What's funny is that this is the part of the song that's supposed to be a conversation between Knuckles and Sonic, and it's Sonic that says it. And then there's this line in the Adventure 2 version of Unknown from ME. Sonic Heroes has an honorable mention, kind of, because it isn't really a swear, but it sure sounds like one. If you know, you know, but here it is anyway.
Oh, yeah. I think he said shit.
To be careful about their parents overhearing this line, you know, just in case. So after Shadow, I think it's safe to say that Sonic Team learned their lesson for the most part. Luckily, their next game, Sonic 06, didn't make profanity a major selling point to their game, but there is a single instance of it hidden within one of the songs. Not just any song, the main song of the entire game.
Oh, yep.
His World by Zebrahead.
Did it say, like,
is a single
kicking
scene
ass,
right
too?
there. Take a listen.
Yep.
Then there's Sonic and the Secret Rings, which has this moment.
I can't even begin to imagine what having all 7 rings would do to someone. It might even open the gates of hell.
It's worth noting that he isn't using the word hell profanely here, but rather talking directly about hell itself, like the place. There is a difference, it's not really a swear, but I'm still including it on this list. In Sonic Unleashed, you're able to buy an item called the Canned Horror, which is food you're able to eat yourself or give to Chip. If you do the latter, you get this reaction. Rise of Lyric has some unused dialogue with some more adult language. This suggests that the entire game was supposed to be a bit darker, but lightened up by the final release. Here's a few lines to help get the picture.
You guys must have really pissed him off.
Nothing shoot is bad. Oh my god, please, Ryan, stop. Please. Yo, Ryan, unreal.
In Sonic Runners, there's a couple of lines with
Oh, quality.
profanity, like this one from Knuckles.
Oh yeah, Sonic Runners was the mobile game.
And if we're going to call out the Zeddy for using curse words, it might be worth mentioning that Zabok is also known to have a bit of a sailor's mouth. In Team Sonic Racing, we can hear Zabok curse within this line.
Real?
And Zaz again in Sonic and the Olympic Games. Wow, this guy really needs to work on his language. This game even has
I guess, damn it, is.
This game even has Eggman, someone who managed to keep his mouth clean even in Shadow the Hedgehog, spewing a few obscenities. That's about it for...
Alright, sorry, I had to shit like 30 times. Hope it loads.
That's about it for the video games, but as we all know, Sonic extends far beyond just video games. For instance, in the Sonic OVA, it's often debated whether Sonic is sticking up his middle finger here or not.
He's not.
Some say he's pointing up, others say he's giving the bird. I've personally always seen this as Sonic flicking off Metal Robotnik, because it doesn't really make sense why he'd be pointing up, even given the context of the scene. For this next one, not only would you have to consume Sonic media outside of the video games to find swear words, but also in an entirely different language, Japanese. I often hear people say that the Japanese language doesn't really have swear words, which is technically true. They do have words that are considered rude, of course, but I guess none of that really matters when your characters just straight up use English words to swear. This is probably the funniest workaround ever. Most kids in the West probably weren't watching Sonic X in Japanese, so they wouldn't have heard the swears. And then the kids in Japan watching it would hear the swears, but wouldn't understand them because it wasn't even in their language. It was really the perfect victimless crime. Until we look in retrospect, like we're doing now. Oh well. The various comics are another source of some of the sailor mouth we've been discussing. It's almost always censored, but I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. You've got this scene with Sonic in an arm cast and some centric characters in a speech bubble. And then a handful of panels with some similar censoring, blocking out some of the other characters' vile language, usually coming from the various villains. But in terms of uncensored swear words, we can find this panel of Silver saying crap.
Bruh.
Word I remember never being sure as a kid on if it was an actual swear word or not, but regardless of what your stance on the subject is, it's definitely a bit more vulgar than your everyday insult, so I'm gonna include it anyways. We also have this comic used to promote the game Fighters Mega Mix, called
What?
Fighters
Is kill a
Mega
swear now, Chaomix?
Get it? This game features Bark the Polar Bear from Sonic the Fighters, and in the comic, he briefly appears and drops a little swear.
Okay, I did not expect that.
And finally, there's a couple scenes within the recent Sonic movies. In the first movie, we have Eggman with this line.
The yawn scared you?
And then this one.
What it was on?
Movie, we have Eggman with this line.
Glad I could wake you up though, Dragon.
I'm sure you're hella popular with the Jebs and Merles and Billy Bob's
Yes, sir.
glorified gas station rest stop.
And then this one.
Who the hell do you think you are?
In movie 2, there's a few that come from Rachel.
Yeah.
This is still my day, and someone is going to explain to me what the hell's going on here.
And then this one by Sonic himself at the very beginning
Sonic
of the
said what?
movie. So that was
Ah.
a comprehensive list of all the swearing I could find within the Sonic series. But now I want to go back to talking about Shadow the Hedgehog again, because its swearing and adult themes actually have an interesting connection to the ESRB, or the Entertainment Software Rating Board.
Is that like one of the first games that got rated or something? Huh. This is gonna be interesting, I can tell. Where's the mouse? There we go. Bro, they really put in game NFTs in games. That's not racial.
If you're in either the United States or Canada, you might recognize them by this little logo in the bottom left corner of pretty much any video game box art. They're the ones responsible for assigning content and age ratings for video games over here. And Shadow the Hedgehog actually helped influence the creation of what we now know as the E10 and up rating. Now, it wasn't the first game with...
Why is it E10? It should probably be like T. Well, this is like... Look at that goofy render shadow right there. Let me just look at this box out. Hero or villain? I'll have to choose about Sonic's arch rival. Blah. Cool art. Sonic's there for some reason.
Now known as the E10 and up rating. Now, it wasn't the first game with this rating. That award would actually go to Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. With the graphical fidelity of home consoles improving, especially during the GameCube era, cartoon violence was becoming more and more realistic, resulting in many familiar, previously family-friendly franchises being given a T rating rather than their usual E rating.
Melee, RP. Oh yeah, and the Metroid game.
Actually considerably limits who's able to buy these games. Partly because it restricts younger kids from actually buying these games by themselves without...
Melee was still like the best-selling GameCube though, so I guess they're GameCube game, so I guess it didn't really do anything.
Present, but also partly because T ratings generally dissuade parents from purchasing these types of games for their kids in the first place, due to the worry of exposing them to more grown-up content. This more narrow target audience can be bad for business, since it limits who can buy these games in more ways than one. Something I'm sure plenty of video game companies weren't exactly thrilled about during this era. So it's heavily rumored that Sega, during the production of Shadow the Hedgehog, was one of these gaming companies that helped push this decision to create the E10 and up rating. And because of this, it led to the game being severely toned down, believe it or not. Yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog was going to be even more edgy.
I don't believe it.
In the game's production, there was no E10 and up rating. So the game had to decide if it wanted to be E or T, because there was no in between.
Wait, but it says E10 and up. Or I guess I'll see.
Obviously, a game with guns and death and motorcycles is going to lean more towards the T rating. There was no way that they were getting away with an E rating. So at that point, might as well make the use of the T rating and go all in on the edginess, right? You can actually get glimpses of this from the beta version of the intro cutscene. In the finished product, the screen turns white as Maria gets gunned down by the soldier. But in the beta
Oh god, this is gonna be horrible.
version, we can actually see Maria getting shot as she falls to the ground. There's a bunch of other small changes too, like the blood of the black arms being red instead of green. But in the end, the game was released in time for the E10 and up rating, which resulted in it being majorly toned down while doing as much as they still could within the new rating. But honestly, if you ask me, if this game came out today, it would totally get a T rating. I'm not really sure how they got away with a mere 10 and up, because some of the stuff that happens in this game is pretty brutal. But anyways, from this game on,
nice job, Sega.
the series would continue to aim for this E10 and up rating for a lot of its preceding games. Just look at the box art for a lot of them. Sonic 06, Unleashed, Black Knight, Boom, Lost World, Forces, and now Sonic Frontiers. Admittedly, it was pretty hard to find swearing in Sonic media outside of Shadow the Hedgehog, so it's not like this is something parents really have to be concerned about. For the most part, Shadow the Hedgehog was the only one to really be like this. But this type of adult language does pop
Yo, this is nice. That classic Sonic like thing on this.
up every now and again, and as an adult, I just find it kind of hilarious. This has been a brief history on swearing within the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring.
Yeah, okay, good video, Thomas. I kind of like to just skip the sponsors and then see like the outros. Oh, never mind. That was a good video though. I'll be looking forward to watching more for stuff like this.